Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'll be using Scrapbook.com's brand new Coastal Charm collection. Here's a look at the new Coastal Charm collection. There's pattern paper, solid cardstock, stamps, dies, and even a coordinating rub-on set. This collection has been in the coming soon section at Scrapbook.com for quite a while now, and I'm so excited that it's now available. If you are interested, I do have links in the description box below. I'll start off by showing the pattern paper. It's called Seaside. It's available in A2 size and also 6x8. I'll flip through both of the paper pads so you can see the comparison. The size of the designs is the same whether it's the A2 or 6x8 paper. I love the fun designs, and the colors are bright and cheerful, so you could use these throughout the year. It does have a very summery feel, but when you see the sentiment set, you'll see that it also works great for Valentine's or love cards. The collection also includes several solids. There's the blue, this red, beautiful pink color. I love having those solids since they coordinate perfectly with some of the designs. And if you want even more cardstock choices, they also have their new Tropical Smooth Cardstock paper pad, and it's available in A2 and 6x8 sizes. There are 8 colors included, and you'll get 5 of each sheet. And it's a nice heavy weight at 230 GSM. I love the bright colors in this collection, and bonus, there are 2 shades of pink. Up next is the sentiment stamp set. It's called Hooked on You, and there are coordinating dies, and there's a die that goes around all the sentiments plus the 2 hearts. There are so many fun sentiments on this set, and they work perfectly with the image dies and some of the images of the pattern paper. Next up are 2 shape die sets. There's Coastal Borders and Coastal Charm. The Coastal Border set includes 8 different dies. The top one is a cloud, then there are lots of different wave pieces, and it even includes the little bubble piece for the sea foam. The Coastal Charm has lots of fun critters. There's the narwhal, a turtle, octopus, crab, 2 fish with the little hook, and also a lobster. Here's a look on the back of the packaging, so it gives you an idea how you can use both of the sets. The final item that's part of the Coastal Charm collection is a set of rub-ons called Coastal Charm. There are 2 sheets included, very colorful designs, and the images and sentiments are similar to the dies and stamps. I'll pull the sheets out so you can see everything that's included. Scrapbook.com's rub-on packs also include the popsicle stick so you can easily transfer the images and sentiments. I love the colorful designs on this set, and rub-ons make it super quick and easy to pop together a beautiful card. And what's really fun, the coordinating dies for the stamp set also work for the sentiments on the rub-on set. So you simply transfer the sentiment on some cardstock or pattern paper, then cut them out with the coordinating dies. So that's everything that's part of Scrapbook.com's new Coastal Charm collection. And if you are interested, I do have links in the description box below. I have several different card designs to share with you using the new products. Let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. For this card, I will be using a card sketch for inspiration. It's from Cards TV, sketch number 75. The 2 background rectangles are from the same sheet of pattern paper. One side is dark green with some pink shells, and the other is the dark green and white stripes. I'll add both of those on a green cardstock layer. And this piece is 5 1/4 of an inch by 4 inches. And the green is from the Tropical Smooth Cardstock paper pad. For a little bit of shine, I'll also layer this piece on some silver mirror paper, and this is from scrapbook.com's holographic mirror paper pad. That piece is 5 3/8 of an inch by 4 1/8 of an inch. Now I'll put adhesive on the back and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. And the adhesive I was using is scrapbook.com's deluxe adhesive roller. For the image panel, I did cut this a little bit larger than what's indicated on the card sketch. The piece is 3 3/4 of an inch by 2 3/4 of an inch. I use white cardstock, and I'll be inking up the background. If you don't have the perfect color cardstock to use, you can always simply use some ink. I'm working on a magnetic glass mat from Glassboard Studio. To hold the ink pad in place, I'm using their MagInk tray and also one of their magnets, since the Distress Oxide ink doesn't fit perfectly inside this tray. I made a little fix so it still works. The ink color I used is Distress Oxide Salvage Patina. Now I need to clean up my mat. I'll simply spritz it with some water and wipe it clean using a Crafty cleanup cloth. I love this magnetic glass mat, and I have the large 18 by 24 inch size, but there are other sizes, 2 smaller and 2 larger available. Now I'll put adhesive on the back of this inked piece, layer it on more of the green cardstock, and that piece is 4 inches by 3 inches. I'll put more adhesive on the back and add the image panel on the center of the card. So now it's time to assemble one of the critters. I decided to go with a pink octopus. I've already die cut out all the pieces, stamped the sentiment, and I have everything stored in the small stack and sort tray from scrapbook.com. I'll glue the die cut pieces on my project grip mat. You can do it directly on the glass mat as well. Adhesive cleans up very easily. The main reason I still glue my die cut pieces on the project grip mat is because this is a glass mat. I have overhead lights in 3 different areas above me, but they're at an angle, so you won't see them in the video very often, but I get the reflection pretty strong from where I'm sitting. And one place where I get a very strong light reflection is where I'm assembling die cuts. But I'd rather be the one seeing the light reflection instead of you. For the octopus, there are 2 main layers. I selected both shades of pink from the Tropical Paper Collection. I'm not using the suggested eyes for the octopus. Instead, I'm using 2 of the bubble circles. I wanted the octopus to have nice big eyes, so I use white cardstock for the main eye and black cardstock for the pupils. For the cheeks of the octopus, I'm using the same light pink that I use for that background layer of the octopus. I'm using reverse tweezers for some of the small pieces, and for the pupils, I use the wax tip end of scrapbook.com's Craft Pro Pick tool. The octopus does have some debossed areas to add that little extra detail, including a smile. And I wanted that to stand out a little bit more, so I used scrapbook.com's black pen and very carefully filled in that little debossed area of the mouth. I cut out 3 of the smaller size hearts, and I'm placing them in the octopus's arms. I know this octopus only has 5 arms visible. I'm guessing the other 3 are just tucked behind her. I'll add 1 heart on the left side and 2 on the right side. I'll add glue either behind the tip of her arm or behind the hearts, just depending on where I'm placing them. Now, I always thought they were called tentacles, not arms, but I did a quick search and found out an octopus does not have tentacles. In fact, they have arms. So there are the 3 hearts, although the one on the bottom right fell off, so I need to add a little more glue. Once I put foam on the back, those hearts will stay in place just fine. So for now, I'll flip it over in my stack and sort tray, let that glue dry a little bit longer. For the sentiment, I've already stamped out, "You occupy my mind." And the ink color I use for the sentiment is Distress Oxide Peacock Feathers. For a little bit of sparkle underneath the sentiment, I cut out a second piece from the holographic paper, and I'll layer the two pieces together, offsetting them slightly so you can see that beautiful sparkle on the left side and underneath the sentiment. Next, I'll put foam dimension behind the octopus. I'm using the small and large foam squares in the 1mm thickness. I'll also cut some of the small squares in half to fit behind the narrow areas of the arms. And when adding the foam pieces, I'm making sure that they're touching part of each of the 3 hearts. I'll add just a couple more foam pieces. Want to make sure to have good coverage. The sentiment will go in the upper right-hand corner. The top of the letter Y and then the right side of the sentiment will go off of the image panel. So I'll put some foam squares in those areas. We'll remove the release paper, put glue on the back, and adhere the sentiment down first. I'll make sure it's on nice and straight before firmly pressing it down. Then I'll remove the release paper behind the octopus and adhere it in place. And I'll add the octopus in the lower left-hand corner of the image panel. Just part of one of her arms overlaps a tiny bit of the holographic area of the sentiment. So there is my finished card. You could add some bling or other embellishments. I decided to leave it as is. I did make 2 using this design since I can never stop with just 1 card. Now moving on to card design number 2. I'll start off by inking the background. I have an A2 size piece of white cardstock, and I'm using Distress Oxide Salvage Patina ink color. I'm only inking the very top area, maybe about 1.5 to 2 inches. And I want it a little bit darker at the very top and then gradually getting lighter down. Now I'll be covering up most of this with some of the die cut pieces. So I'm really just focusing on that top area, which will be the sky. Before moving on, I need to clean up my mat. Just spritz it with water, wipe it clean with a Crafty cleanup cloth. I'm using the pink cleanup cloths, but they are also available in black. Of course, I have to use pink though. And these are so nice because you can wash them and use them again and again. Next, I'll be adding 3 of the wave pieces. I've already die cut them out. The first 2 wave pieces, those colors are from scrapbook.com's Sherbet Smooth Cardstock Paper Pad. And the darkest, that bluish teal color, is from the Cools Smooth Cardstock Paper Pad. I'll add that darkest layer down first, and I'm making sure they line up on the left side and bottom of the background. I know there's a little bit of white showing on the right side, but once I add all 3 pieces, I'll trim off that edge to clean it up. Now I'll add the medium tone. And then finally, that lightest tone that has these fun cut out areas at the top of the wave. And the wave pieces are about 3/16 of an inch apart. Just enough so you can see the 3 different colors. I used the deluxe adhesive roller for most of it, but behind that cutout detail, I did use Barely Art glue. And I'll place a large acrylic block on top for some added weight to make sure it lays nice and flat while it dries. So now I'll go and trim just a tiny bit on the right side to clean up that edge. I'll put adhesive on the back, add my card front onto a card base. And all of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. So now I'll set that aside and start assembling some sweet little turtles. The turtle and the crab, I think, are my favorite images from the set. Of course, they're all adorable. Which animal is your favorite from the new Coastal Charm set? The turtle is super easy to assemble. There's either 2 or 3 pieces. I used the 2 different shades of green from the Tropical collection. And you have the option of the little cheek blush piece, which I am adding to the turtles because I think it's super sweet. I use one of the light pink cardstock colors. I'll add just that tiny drop of glue, then pick it up using the wax tip end of the Craft Pro Pick tool. Now this is a super tiny piece, and of course all of mine in the tray were upside down, so I'm trying to flip it over before adhering it onto the turtle. And I'll also make sure to get it adjusted before the glue dries completely. I have just one more cheek to attach. Put that teeny tiny drop of glue. The turtle also has the little debossed detail. There's the smile and the eye, and then all the detail on the shell. You could do some inking or use a pen to have that stand out a little bit more, but I'm leaving it as is. It's still super cute. Now I'll add the 3 turtles into the ocean, and I'm putting them at different heights. They're just all swimming together happily in the ocean. The turtle on the left will be up highest, the one in the middle will be lower, and then the final turtle will be about mid-height on the right side. For this card, I'm not using any foam dimension. It's always nice to have a few cards on hand that are nice and flat and don't require additional postage. In the upper right-hand corner, I'm adding the sentiment, "I'm turtly smitten." Around the sentiment, I'm adding 3 pink hearts. The largest pink heart is the darker pink, and then 2 light pink hearts, the smaller size. I'll put the 2 hearts on the left side of the sentiment, and on the right side, I'm adding 1 small pink heart, and it'll be underneath the sentiment. The Coastal Charm set does include the little bubble pieces. That's what I use for the eyes of the octopus, but I wanted more variety and also some smaller bubbles, so I used the sea foam border die and cut it out from some silver holographic paper. There are tons of little circles, and I thought they worked perfectly for bubbles. For the right and left turtle, I'll put 3 bubbles. For the middle turtle, I'm only adding 2 bubbles since he's really close to that left side turtle. The bubbles are pretty small, so I'm using the Craft Pro Pick tool to pick those up and press them in place. You could also use the tiny circles inside a shaker. It's very pretty with specialty cardstock. For a final finishing touch, I'm using a white gel pen and adding a few little dots on each of the hearts. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. The little turtle images are so cute, they just make me smile. And they were so easy to assemble, basically just 3 die cut pieces. Now moving on to card design number 3. For the background of my card, I selected one of the lighter brown colors from scrapbook.com's Neutral Smooth Cardstock paper pad. And I'll be adding a little bit of splatter. The ink I'm using is Distress Oxide Gathered Twigs. I'll press some ink on my glass mat, spritz it with water, and then with a paintbrush, I'll gently tap it over the brown cardstock piece. The brown cardstock will be sand, and I think adding that splatter gives it a fun detail. So now I'll set that aside. I need to clean up my mat. I did grab a baby wipe just to get a little more of that brown ink off, and then I'll wipe it dry with a Crafty cleanup cloth. I noticed a little bit of splatter on the lid of my ink pad, so I did wipe that off. Most of the card will be the sand area, but at the very bottom, I'll add a blue wave and a white seafoam border. The blue color I use for the wave is from the Cools Smooth Cardstock paper pad. I'll glue the 2 pieces together. I use both the Deluxe adhesive roller and some glue. And I will place that acrylic block on top, let that sit for a few minutes so the wave lays nice and flat. The critter I'll be adding on this card is the crab, and this crab is just adorable. I use 2 different shades of this reddish orange color. They look very similar. The darker shade is from the Tropical paper pad and the lighter shade is from the Seaside pattern paper. I want to darken the 3 pieces just a little bit more, so I'm using Catherine Pooler's Terracotta ink color, inking up the edge of the body of the crab and also the little pinchers. And that'll add a little more contrast and definition from the legs, which will be the background piece of the crab. I'll move the die cuts aside, spray my mat, wipe it down. And now I'll assemble the crab. And this one is also very easy to assemble. There are a few smaller pieces. So I have the very background piece of the crab. I'll add the body and then the 2 little pinchers. And just like the octopus and the turtle, the crab also has that fun deboss detail. For the eyes, I use some white cardstock, and there are 3 little pieces that look like smiles. The 2 that are the same size are for the eyes, and then the one that's different is for the mouth. I'll glue down the white portion of the eyes first, and these line up perfectly with the background. Now, instead of adding the die cut pieces for the eyes, you could also use googly eyes. I think that would be super cute. Next, I'll add the small U-shaped for the eyes. Add one on the left and then one on the right, trying to get them at the same placement. And now I'll add the mouth, and that goes right underneath the eyes, so at the very top of the crab's shell. I am using my reverse tweezers to hold some of those smaller die cut pieces. So there's the crab all assembled and very cute, just like the rest of the critters on the Coastal Charm set. For a sentiment, I've already stamped and cut this out. I can't see myself without you. I use the coordinating die to cut out a second piece from brown cardstock, and I'll layer them together, offsetting them slightly so you can see just a little bit of that brown on the left side of the sentiment. Before adhering the sentiment and the crab, I first need to add the ocean wave and that sea foam border. I'll put adhesive on the back. I use the deluxe adhesive roller just on the bottom portion, but behind all that circle area of the sea foam border, I am using glue. I'll adhere it at the bottom of the sand panel, and I am placing an acrylic block on top, focusing more on that sea foam border since I want it to lay nice and flat. I will have the crab hold a blue heart, and you can have the crab hold the heart with both arms, but I thought it would be cute to have the crab just hold it on one side, so technically the crab's left claw or pincher. On the back side of the heart on the right side, I am adding a scrap piece of pattern paper. That way there isn't as much of a bump over the claw area of the crab when I adhere the heart and the crab down. I'll put adhesive on the back of my card front, add it on a card base, and I noticed a little bit of that white sea foam border. So first I'll trim that off with a pair of scissors. Now I'll adhere it down. I decided for this card I would also keep it nice and flat, so I'm not using any foam. I'll put glue on the back of the sentiment and add it in the upper left-hand corner. Then I'll add glue on the back of the crab and adhere it on the right side, and I am putting the crab at a slight angle. From the front side of the crab, it looks like cardstock, but you can see on the back side, I actually use pattern paper, at least for most of the pieces. For a final finishing touch, I'll use a white gel pen and add 3 little dots on the right side of the heart. I really like this fun beach scene and decided it didn't need any embellishments. So there's my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. I love the colors on this card. The reddish orange, the white, and blue look so pretty on the sand color. I have 2 more cards to share with you, although I did not record the process. Both cards feature some of the rub-ons from the Coastal Charm set. For the first card, I used the Coastal Border dies for the wave and that seafoam, and I used the coordinating die that goes with the stamp set to cut out the sentiment. For the second card, the images and sentiment are all rub-ons. For the background on the sailboat card, I used one of Scrapbook.com's 3D embossing folders. It's the polka dot design. Their embossing folders aren't available yet, but they are coming very soon. Now here's another look at the 8 cards I made using Scrapbook.com's brand new Coastal Charm collection. This collection is so fun. If you're a fan of the ocean, you will want to get this set. It's nice that you can use all the different items throughout the year. The rub-on images and sentiments make it super easy to put together some beautiful cards very quickly. You may want to grab a few sets. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.